Okay, what I'm up to right now is inspecting my differential, front differential, I guess what you call this. I'm considering changing the oil, and this is the fill plug right here. And I think what I'm gonna do first is just clean up the area, because it looks like something's weeping, but it's so darn dirty that it's hard to tell. So we're gonna start with that. So just to give you an idea of where we're looking at here. So I'm coming down under the car. I'm on the passenger side, and it's right behind the oil pan. Here's the bottom of it. It's now cleaned up. Let me shine a flashlight on that. You can now see the oil drain plug right here. So we're gonna attack that next. Make an adjustment here. The way you drain the oil is that you suck as much as you can out, refill it until it starts to drip, and then you drain out 100 milliliters. So it's of value to have the car level. And right now you can see I've got a downward slope driveway and I've driven in forward. So I'm gonna flip the car around and try to get some semblance of levelness, and then we'll go from there. There we go, that's better. It's more or less level. It's a 13 millimeter socket, and I've got a bowl at the ready just in case any fluid drips out. Oh, no fluid came out. This is what it looks like. There is a copper washer there, so I don't know if it's the same size as an oil plug, but I'm gonna have a look to see if I can replace it. And there's the orifice there. Okay, here's what I got here. $5 siphon with a small tube. Feedback online suggests that the smaller the tube, the better. So we're gonna try this out and see how it goes. This seems to be working. I've given it one squeeze. It's slowly making its way through the tube. Here's where I've inserted it. It looks to me to be pretty dirty stuff. Now the flow has stopped, so I'm gonna squeeze again and see what that does. Alright, if you're gonna do this and get something better than this is gonna take me forever. I've been at this anyway about 5 minutes, and I've got, I don't know, quarter cup, third of a cup. Probably have better luck just unscrewing the tube at this stage. And then just letting it naturally drain right out. Let me try that instead. Disconnected the siphon. I'm just letting it naturally drain now by gravity, and that seems to be working okay. It's pretty viscous fluid, so it stinks there. All right, so here's what's going on. I've disconnected the siphon and I'm just letting it siphon out by itself, gravity feed style. Maybe I'll just leave this for a few minutes and come back. It's flowing, it's slow, but it'll work. All right, well, this is like watching paint dry. So I'm using this cheap old siphon and I'm paying for it. I've had to put the hose in pretty far to continue to collect fluid. And this is a 500 milliliter container, so it's slowly getting to 500 mils. I did look around and I've got some extra oil plug washers, filler plug, and they are the same size. So I'm going to take off the old washer, put on a new one. I'm going to assume you crank it to more or less the same foot-pounds as the oil fill, which is 28 foot-pounds. Just checking in on this thing. Still draining. Okay, I have checked. I've sucked out as much as I can. Tried getting that hose back in further. Could not. And so this is as good as it's going to get, and it does look like about the right amount, so I'm just going to take the hose out and refill. Here's the color of mine. I would describe it as just dull brown. Even if you tried to use your imagination, it's just brown. Okay, so I'm ready to refill. I've got a 60 ml syringe, some extra tubing. I've got the new drain plug washer on. I've got my torque wrench ready, and I'm ready to refill. Here is the transmission oil that was specified on Volvo Parts Web Store. Part number 312-59380. That part number replaced some of the older part numbers, and at one time it called for different transmission. The Volvo called for different transmission fluid for front and rear differential, and I did triple check, and both front and rear parts were replaced with this single part number. So we're all set. So I've got the syringe full, 60 mils, and I guess I'll just put it right in here. Seems to be working well. I got it slightly at an angle upwards, just pushing that stuff in, and it seems to be going in just fine. And so we're just gonna keep injecting this stuff with 60 mils until it starts to flow out. 60 mils. Let's do it again. 120, 180. 40. A little bit dripping there. 300. There we go. 420. No leaking yet. 480. Filling up a little bit at a time here. I'm watching. Still filling. Okay. Wow. Oh, I think it's now full. It's looking to me like it's now dripping continuously. Good. So now we let it stop dripping, and then we take 100 milliliters out. The challenge now is you want to take out no more than 100 milliliters. So I've got my syringe, and I've hooked up some silicone hose to it, and then a hose that'll fit in the opening. And I'm going to try and pull out maybe 50 mils, because I don't want to discount the amount that's actually in the length of tubing, if you know what I mean. So where is this thing? Let's put that back in there. Suck some out. see how much that is. So I'm gonna pour that into a cup. It's good enough. We've got 100 here. So the fluid's in there. We're done. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm gonna go with assumption that because it's the same size of bolt as the oil fill, just gonna torque this up to 35 Newton meters, 28 foot-pounds. Oh, we're putting this back on. Putting that on. It's turning. Regular socket until I get to the point where I need to. Okay. Good. Brush it all up. See, make sure you can see some leaks later on. This is all done.